Hey YouTube. This is the third episode about living with the monks in Nepal. And so after my initial arrival in Thamel district, the next morning, Sanjay came back in his taxi cab after I had eaten a nice English breakfast for less than $2 and picked me up to take me outside of the teeming capital city of Kathmandu towards this picturesque, beautiful little mountain village called Dallu that was in the foothills of the Himalaya mountains, which is where Adzom Monastery was located and where I was going to be a volunteer school teacher at. And so I headed out that morning with Sanjay driving me. It was a beautiful day as we left the city, which was very brown and dusty. But then as you leave Kathmandu, you start to see how absolutely lovely and gorgeous it is. The roads are small and curvy, but they're not bad, although there's no guardrails of any kind. And when you get up to the mountain passes, it's absolutely unbelievable how fast and how close these buses and vehicles drive to the edges of absolute disaster. But nevertheless, it seems to work out somehow, some way, because they make it happen. But yes, we were driving towards Dallu, Sanjay and I, talking various conversations as we passed through the Himalayan countryside, which was very green at this time of year and very beautiful, for close to an hour, just driving up these roads, going up and up and up. I swear I've never been higher, it's like in a car, on the earth in my whole life than at this point when we were driving to go to this monastery. We were just driving up and up and up these winding roads, and these roads would on one side be a sheer cliff face, and on the other side there would be just packed little houses and shops and businesses and communities that just sort of spiraled up the mountain as we went, with the road sort of just as this thread fully packed with dogs, people, buses, bikes, cars, traffic of all sorts and kinds. It was just really hectic and crazy to see. And so Sanjay and I were making our way through this sort of environment, having this conversation, and then eventually we reached a sort of junction where he told me, okay, like now we're reaching Dallu, and to the left is Parping, which is some sort of hub for the commercial hub for the area. It's like a larger town. But Dallu, where we're going, it's like this little mountain village. You know, he didn't say this, but we're driving in, and so he took the right on the way to Parping. He didn't go to Parping, he took a right, so we were going to Dallu on these little 1-2 lane gravel roads in the middle or the end of May. Beautiful horizons, greenery everywhere, these little huts and houses and buildings, and then out of nowhere suddenly you saw like this giant golden Buddha that was built into the mountain, and I was told it was like Guru Rinpoche. And like then suddenly, as we're still driving in, Sanjay points, you know, over at this just breathtaking place and tells me that that's Adzom Monastery. That's the place that I'm going to be a volunteer at. And so I'm looking at this place as we're driving towards it slowly, making our way through this village that is at the bottom of 3 mountains. And so this monastery that we're approaching is sort of like at the base of one of these mountains. And so we're approaching this monastery, going from more narrow roads to more narrow roads to like little gravel streets with houses built off, and we're driving down and we take the right, and then we stop, and there's the bricks and like a road of bricks and this temple gate with immaculate characters and artistry and expert craftsmanship, and just the beautiful, breathtaking hills, mountains right beside it. And we stop there and we get out, and there's just this Nepalese guard that's there at this monastery. And so Sanjay, my taxi friend, he talks to the guard and lets him know why I'm there, and the guard goes inside the monastery, and a few minutes later this compo walks out wearing, you know, the saffron style robes of the Buddhist monks, carrying the prayer beads with a big smile on his face, telling me that, he's Karla Narpa and welcome to Adzom Monastery. And he's got this big smiling grin. And so there I am, just sitting there in the foothills of the Himalaya mountains at this absolutely breathtaking Buddhist monastery. And Sanjay basically shakes my hand and tells me whenever I want to go back into Kathmandu and to Thamel to let him know, he'll help me show me around. And then he drives off and departs. And there I am with my luggage and this Buddhist monk standing there at the grounds of Adzom. And so Karla very quickly tries to take my bag. I don't let him. But leads me down this little gravel walkway to a gate, an iron gate that you open and walk over a bridge that's like 40 or 50 feet in the air, to this high bathhouse that's got some bathrooms and like a hanging room for clothes. And then through that door, you are suddenly on a terrace with 5 apartments in the terrace. Okay, and so he's taking me through, showing me this, taking me to this room, and we walk onto this terrace. And as we get there, there's this Chinese couple. One man, Mr. Chen, is doing Tai Chi. So he's doing like this slow moving Tai Chi, and then like his wife comes out, and they can hardly speak a word of English. And the Buddhist monk himself speaks good English, but is not able to help me much with the Chinese translations. And so very quickly I meet Mr. and Mrs. Chen, and they're in a room right next to me, and they show me this room that I'm staying in that is right on the cliff face of this amazing gorge with all of this forest and greenery. And the room it's a big room, very nice, open, huge windows, nice bed, big dresser. There's not a lot of furnishings, but they're nice furnishings, and it's a lot of space, and it's very clean, and it's very comfortable. And it's just unbelievable that I've just arrived from Chuuk, Micronesia, and here I am at this absolutely breathtaking, gorgeous monastery outside of Kathmandu, Nepal, and I'm being shown to my room by this monk, this head monk there. So it was a really, really humbling, amazing experience to meet Mr. and Mrs. Chen and Karla. And then before he let me settle in, like he let me put my bags down, but then he wanted to show me the rest of the grounds. And so I followed him back through the way we came, back up to where we were dropped off at. And then we went through the gate where the guard had been before and started walking up this sort of slanty, I forget the name of it, until we reached the steps that led up to the courtyard where the main monastery grounds were. And it was just, as you see in the video, absolutely spectacular. Because as I walk up, you see up close what you had seen from far away before, this monastery that is shimmering out like a jewel in the night. It is unbelievable how amazing and intricate and beautifully detailed Adzom Monastery really is. And so as I began to come up close to it, Karla really didn't even need to say anything. I was just blown away by it. It was so absolutely spectacular. The doors alone were 3 stories tall. And so just looking at the sheer grandeur of it was something that I had to take in. But then he also went further by allowing me to go inside the temple with him through a side door. And so we went inside of this temple, and oh my God, you all, please remember, this is all for Ashley West Eyes. goodness. This temple inside, it had these 5 seated deities with the Buddha at the center, gold, silver, chandeliers. It was the most ornate, rich tapestry, just abounding in luxurious temple complex, sheer breathtaking. I just couldn't believe it. And so I'm inside this temple, right? I'm just being blown away. I'm just being blown away. The taxi guy takes me up to this absolutely ginormous Buddhist temple, and then this monk's leading me around this place, and now I'm inside this amazing temple, and I just can't believe it. And then over in like another part of the temple, this huge building, in like the darker part, I see some guys painting. There's like 2 guys. And so quietly, like I walk over, and I'm looking as I walk over on like the wall, the whole wall of this temple inside, right? It looked like it had been some sort of really fancy, nice wallpaper. But now as I'm approaching it, I'm looking at it, I'm looking, it's a hand-painted mural with thousands upon thousands of individualized, hand-painted caricatures from the Buddhist religion and folklore in such innate detail and with such precision and expert calligraphy and gilding and gold and silver and ambergris. It was awe-inspiring. I was utterly spellbound. And so I very quietly approached those 2 painters because I didn't want to, my goodness, cause them any sort of mistakes. And I asked them who they were, like if this was their work. And they told me that they were. It was Sampa and Tashi, 2 painters from Bhutan, right? Like, where do you meet people from Bhutan? In Nepal, painting a Buddhist monastery by hand. And how long had they been doing this? Tashi and oh my goodness, his name just escapes me. They had been doing it for 2 years. 2 years they had been hand painting this monastery in Dallu, and then on holidays they would go back. They told me to their family in Bhutan when they showed me the pictures of them, and they were so adorable. And I'm just sitting there with this monk, this Buddhist monk behind me, who's not saying anything. He's just listening to me have this conversation with these 2 Bhutanese painters inside of this temple, inside of this little mountain village, inside of this little wondrous spot in the world. And I just really couldn't believe it. And it was all in my first 30 minutes at Adzom Monastery. And so I think I'll leave it there for today. This is me coming into Adzom Monastery. Everything is done for Ashley Oosthuizen. I love her so much as anyone could love anything in the whole world. She is so worthy of you liking this channel, subscribing to this channel, or purchasing a book so that we can help get her voice and her message out there. She is such a lovely and incredible human being. So please help me support her by supporting this channel, by supporting this book. Everything I do is for Ashley, whom I love and adore to no end, including making these podcasts about living with the monks in Nepal. I never had planned to do this. This was just what I was doing with my life. But now that I need to bring attention to the woman that I love so much more than eternally, then now I am bringing back these stories that I've done, and I'm bringing back these past experiences and sharing them with you all to provide entertainment, commentary, ideas, outlooks, perspectives, which will hopefully provide the impetus to encourage you to help me in helping my absolute adoration, Ashley Oosthuizen. So thank you so much. Everything is love.